Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Anson and welcome back to a brand new Discord.js tutorial. So in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you guys how to make your own role reaction bot. We're going to be using Node.js and the Discord.js module. Okay, so the very first things you want to make sure you have set up is obviously Node.js and the Discord.js module. The second thing you want to make sure you have set up as well is your bot. You want to make sure it's logged into your server. Okay, if you don't have it logged in, I will link a video in the description showing you guys how to actually do that. Okay, after you've done that, you want to go on your Discord server. You want to pretty much set up your emojis. In this case, I'm using Snapchat, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter icons as emojis just for demonstration purposes, and I named it accordingly. And after you upload your emojis, you can use whatever emoji you want. And I have my dedicated roles for each, emoji, and I also have a role for the bot with the manage roles permission. That way the bot can actually add the role to the user. Okay, and next what you want to do is you basically want a dedicated message where users are going to react to. Basically the way it's going to work is I'm going to react to this message, right? I'm going to add a reaction. If I add the Facebook reaction, it's going to add me to the Facebook role. Now currently it's not doing anything because we haven't written any code yet. Okay, but that's pretty much how it works. You react with the proper emoji and it'll add you to the corresponding role. If I react with the Snapchat emoji, it's going to add me to the Snapchat role. Alright, so I think I've explained pretty much everything that you guys need to do. Again, just go ahead and download any emoji you want and upload it to your server and use it accordingly. Alright, so let's go ahead and start writing some code. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the Discord.js library. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to instantiate a Discord client. Okay, now I'm going to get my Discord token, my Discord bot token. So let me go ahead and put that in there. And let's go ahead and log our bot in. So client.login token. Okay, so let me actually open up my terminal real quick so I can actually log my bot in to desktop. Let's go ahead and clear nodemon bot.js. So our bot is currently online. It's not going to do anything so far. So let me actually zoom this in as well. Okay, so let me move this to the other screen. Alright, so what I'm going to do right now is introduce to you guys an event that's part of the Discord.js library. It's called message, It's called message reaction add. Okay, this event takes in two parameters. It takes in a message reaction object and it takes in a user object. So I'm going to explain what this event actually does. Okay, so this event listens to whenever a message receives a reaction. So if I react to this message with any emoji, it's going to emit this message reaction add event. So let's go ahead and do a simple console.log. Let's just say username reacted. Okay, so let's go ahead and move this over here. And let me go ahead and type a message. Let's just say hi, and let me react with, let's say Snapchat. Notice how it said sty reacted. Okay, let's go ahead and react with another emoji. Let's just do emoji that we didn't have, sty reacted. So that works. Now let's actually try and react to this message. Okay, let's go ahead and react with the Facebook emoji. Notice how nothing is happening on my console, right? You're probably wondering, well, is it broken? Why did it not print out sty reacted? Well, this shows you that this event was not emitted. Now let's understand why. So the message reaction add event is only emitted whenever you react to cached messages. So cached messages pretty much are messages that are kind of like temporarily saved by the bot. So whenever your bot is online and whenever it's any channel that it can read, or it can read, it'll pretty much temporarily cache any messages that are sent while the bot is online. So as you can see, if I send a message right now, let's just say hello there, and if I react to this message, notice how the event is emitted because this message was sent during the time the bot was online. So that message is cached by the bot. Now, messages that are cached are not cached forever. They're cached temporarily, okay? And eventually your bot is also going to end up crashing, and it's, your bot's not going to stay up 24/7 because either your bot's going to crash due to some kind of an unhandled error, or your VPS or your server that you're running your bot on is probably going to restart. Anything can happen, right? So we need a way to actually work around this, right? Because obviously you don't want to send this message every hour or so just to recache it, right? That's going to become tedious. That's the whole point of writing code, right? So we don't want to resend this message over and over again. Instead, what we want to do is we're going to actually listen to a different event, okay? So now this event is called the raw event. Okay, it takes in one parameter, and this parameter, we're calling it event. It actually gives us some information about every single event that's being emitted. So the raw event actually is emitted whenever anything happens, anything that is happening on the Discord server, it actually emits the raw event. So if, let's say, we send a message, it's not only going to emit the message event, it's also going to emit the raw event as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at how this works. So you can already see some stuff being printed out. Don't worry what this is. It's, probably gibberish to some of you guys. But right over here, let's actually go ahead and send a message. Let's just say hi. Notice how over here we have this parameter, or not this parameter, a string, right? Whoops. We see it says T. This is the name of the event. This T key maps to a string, and that string is the name of the event. The name of the event is called message create because, we're creating a message and we're sending it, right? It also gives you some other information too, right? It also gives you, the author of the message. It gives you which guild the message was sent in. It gives you a list. It gives you an array of mentions. It gives you the timestamp, etc. Okay. Now let's actually react to this cached message now. I mean this non-cached message. Sorry. So if I react to this message right now, notice how this event is not emitted, but this raw event is emitted, as you can see right over here, right? And notice how the event's name is called message reaction add, all in caps, mapped by the key T. And we also have this other key called D. So in this tutorial, we're only going to worry about T and D, these two keys. Okay. So now D maps to a JSON object, and that JSON object has a bunch of key value pairs. It has a user ID, which is pretty much the user it's the user's ID that reacted to the message, as the message ID, which is the ID of the message that we reacted to. It also has information about the emoji that we reacted with, the channel ID, and the guild ID. All right. So what we're basically going to do is, since this event is being emitted all the time, right? This event is emitted no matter what. Okay, so now since this event is also emitted whenever we react to a message that's not cached, we're going to use this raw event to manually emit the message reaction add event ourselves. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the name of the event, because we want to check, right? We want to make sure we're checking for the correct event. We don't want to do it for every single event, right? We only care whenever the user is reacting to a message or removing their reaction from the message. So let's just say const event name is equal to event.t, because the T key, right, that maps to the string. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to check if event name is equal to message reaction add. Okay, then we're good. Okay, now what we want to do next is we want to make sure the user is reacting to the correct message. Remember, on your server, you're going to have a dedicated channel, right? In this case, my dedicated channel is role select. So everyone's going to react to this message and this message only to add themselves to a role. We want to make sure they're reacting to this message, right? Because obviously, I don't want to react to this message and allow users to add themselves to a role if they react to that message, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this message's ID, and we're going to compare the IDs, right? We want to compare the ID of the message that they reacted to with the actual message that they're supposed to react to. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say if event.d.message_id is equal to this ID over here, then that means they reacted to the correct message. So let's go ahead and print out something real quick. Let's just say correct message, and let me just show you guys how this works. So let's go ahead to our console. Let's just react with, let's see, Twitter. Correct message, okay? Let's react to this message right now. Notice how it doesn't print out correct message, okay? Cool. Let me actually remove all these reactions. And you can also see over here, since I removed all those reactions, the raw event was still emitted as well. Okay, so since we're checking if the user reacted to the correct message, we should be good to go. Now what we got to do is we actually got to get some information about the reaction, and we got to get some information about the user. Okay, because again, we want to emit this message reaction add event, but we also need to pass in two different parameters. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the channel object first. So I'm going to say var reaction channel, and we actually do have the channel ID. You can actually manually just get the ID like that, or you can just reference it through the JSON object. I'm actually going to use the JSON object. So what I'm going to do is let me actually double check something real quick. So let me actually react to this, and I just want to just make sure it's the same. Okay, it is. Okay, so var reaction channel is equal to client. So we're referencing the Discord client right now, and I'm referencing the channels property, which is a collection of channels. Okay, and I'm going to do get event.d channel underscore ID. So this is going to give us the correct channel because we've already checked if the message is if the message that they react to is the correct one, and since this message is in this channel, then we can just automatically just do event.d.channel ID. Okay, so we have the correct channel now. Now what we got to do is we actually got to check if this message is cached or not. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's see, var, actually if reaction channel dot messages has, and we're going to do event.d message underscore ID. So if it has the message, or if the message is already cached, what does that mean? Okay, well, if the message is cached, that means that this event is already going to be emitted. Okay, so we don't actually have to do anything. So all we're going to do is we're just going to return and not do anything. Okay, but let's say if the message isn't cached, right? Let's say if this channel doesn't have that message. So what we have to do is we have to actually cache the message ourselves. So to do that, we're going to use a method called fetch message. Okay, so if we type reaction channel dot fetch message. Okay, so this actually returns a promise. So we're just going to do fetch message event dot d dot message underscore ID. Then let's see, returns the message. Let's go ahead and just print out this message real quick. Let's go ahead and test this out. So let's just see. Okay, notice how this is now printing out the message, right? Because first of all, this message is not cached. So what we did was we fetched that message. So now it's actually cached. Okay, so let's go ahead and react with this now. Let's see what happens. Notice how now it says sty reacted. This event was emitted, right? By itself, we didn't manually emit it. This was emitted because we fetched this message, we cached it, and this event is now being emitted by itself when we react to it. Okay, so that's pretty much how it works. Okay, so now we actually have the message itself. We have the actual message object. What we need to do is we need to get the correct reaction. Okay, so to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's see, var message reaction, or let's just say message reaction is equal to message dot reactions. Okay, and we want to get the correct one. So what we're going to do is we're going to say dot get, and we're going to do, let me just double check right over here. Okay, we're going to do event dot d dot emoji dot name plus, and I'll explain what this will do in just a second. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that real quick and show you guys what I'm doing. Okay, so don't worry, I'm going to explain what all of this does in just a moment. Okay, so let's go ahead and restart this bot. Let's go ahead and react right now. And let's just double check. Okay, cool. So basically the way this works is, okay, so whenever we have a message reaction object, they're mapped by the emoji name, colon, and the emoji ID. So I'll actually see if I can actually show you guys how that looks like real quick. So let me actually go ahead and just do console.log message.reactions. And let me actually just react real quick. So notice how right over here, yeah, right over here. Notice how it's mapped, right? The key is the name of the emoji, colon, and the ID, right? So to get the correct reaction, what we're going to do is we're just going to concatenate event.d.emoji.name with a colon with the ID. All I'm doing is just getting the name of the emoji and then concatenating with a colon and then concatenating it with the ID of the emoji. That's all I'm doing, okay? So, whoops. Okay, so that's going to give us the correct reaction. Okay, so after we get the reaction, what we need to do is we need to get the user object, and it's really easy. Okay, so all I got to do is just say var user is equal to client.users.get event.d.user_id. Okay, and that's going to get me the actual user that reacted to the message. So once we do all of that, we can just simply say client.emit message reaction add message reaction and then user. Okay, so let's go ahead and test this out and see what happens. Hopefully you don't get any errors. First, let's remove all these reactions. Okay, so let's go ahead and stat reacted. Perfect. Notice how this message is not cached. I right clicked, I reacted with the Facebook emoji, and notice how this stat reacted thing is being printed out because we manually omitted this event inside the raw event. Okay, cool. So let's say now we do react with Snapchat, we reacted with the Snapchat emoji. Okay, so now let's actually do something. Let's actually add ourselves to the role now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm simply just going to say, okay, so we have the message reaction object and we have the user object. Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the role name. So notice how there's a reason why I actually named my emoji after or I named my roles after the emoji. Okay, so that way it's much easier. I mean, you could do it a different way. You could just use if-else statements if you want. So you just have to check what the name of the emoji is, and if it's equal to this, then you add them to this role. Okay, so let's go ahead and say var role name is equal to message reaction. Now this has a property called emoji, and we're going to get the name of the emoji just like that. And I'm just print it out just to show you guys. Okay, let's react with Twitter. Okay, so I'm going to get that role now. So we're going to do, let's see, var role is equal to message reaction. This message reaction object has the message property, which gives you the message object that the user reacted to. Okay, and we're going to reference the guild property and then the roles property of the guild, so we can get all of the roles that are in the guild. But we want to get just the one that we're trying to add ourselves to. So we're going to do .find where role.name is role.name.to lowercase is equal to role_name.to lowercase. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's say if role, then we're going to get the member now, because we can't just do user.addRole, right? The add role method is part of a guild member, is part of the guild member class, not the user class. So what we're going to do is we're going to say var member is equal to message reaction, because we want to get the guild, right? Message reaction.message.guild.members find where the member ID is equal to the user ID. Okay, and let's actually just go ahead and say if member. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna say member.addRole.id. Cool. So let's actually go ahead and print out something. Success. And let's go ahead and just remove all these reactions and let's add ourselves to the role. So notice how it actually added me to the role, and if you look at the console, it says success. Let's add ourselves to the Facebook role. We are added to the Facebook role. Add ourselves to the Snapchat role. We're added to the Snapchat role. And what else? The YouTube role. We're added to the YouTube role. Perfect. So this works. Perfect. So that's how you add yourselves to the role. Okay. Obviously, you can do other checks too, but this is just the most basic way you can do it. I'll leave it to you guys to figure out, other implementations that you want. So let's actually go ahead and remove ourselves from the role now. So let's do client on So like the message reaction add event, there's also a message reaction remove event, and it takes in the same parameters. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of like copy all of this. So we're just going to say if event name, or else if event name is equal to message reaction remove, we're going to check. We're pretty much just going to copy and paste everything. Or actually, I'll just write it out. So if event.d.message underscore ID. So again, we're checking to make sure they remove the reaction from the correct message. Okay, so let me just get this. Copy and paste that. Okay, so you have to make sure it's the same message ID. And what we're going to do is we're going to say var reaction channel, okay, is equal to client.channels.get. We're basically just retrieving the channel, and then we're just checking if the message has been cached, because again, you have to check if the message has been cached, because if it has already been cached, the event is actually going to emit twice if you don't check. Okay, so you have to make sure you check. So after that, we're just going to say else, and then we're just going to pretty much copy all this into here. We're going to, if the message isn't cached, we're going to fetch that message, okay? Then we're going to reference that, the name with the ID, right? The message reaction object. And then we're just going to emit the message reaction remove event instead of the message reaction add event, okay? And once you do that, inside the message reaction remove, we're going to do the same exact thing. Let me just get rid of that. You're going to get the role. Copy and paste that over there, and you're just going to say if the role exists, okay, then instead of member.add role, you're going to do member.remove role. Success. Added role, and then removed role. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this out. So let's do Facebook. Let's try Twitter now. Let's remove ourselves from Facebook. Whoa. Whoops. I don't know why that's always the case. For some reason, like whenever I first add myself to the role and then I remove myself from it, it doesn't remove myself for some reason. But after you add yourselves to a role second time, anyways, you guys don't really have to worry too much about that, because there's already going to be reactions here anyways, and you can just always double click it. So anyways, yeah, I pretty much react to the Facebook with the Facebook emoji. On React removes me from the role. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much how you create a role reaction bot. So hopefully this video helped you guys out. Feel free to leave comments, like the video, subscribe, and yeah, if you guys have any questions, just contact me on Discord and I'll be happy to help you guys out. I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.